So if you have not watched all of Soul Eater, I would highly advise you not to watch this video because some of my points won't make sense, and I do cover content up until the very last episode. With that in mind, some background information. Soul Eater first episode released in 2008, and the series is created by Studio Bones. The entire show is an adaptation of a manga of the same name. Now, plot is something I really like in this show. It's a very unique plot, and while the elements within the plot are very unique and special, not found in very many places, the basic setup of each episode is simple and easy to follow. It's your basics shown in format. So, we all know, basically Soul Eater is about Death, the Grim Reaper, created a school that teaches kids to fight against Kishins. Kishins are people who have strayed the path and sought power to conquer their fear of death. They sought this power and used impure and evil means to gain it, making them inhuman. Basically, they're typical baddies, typical demons, what have not. But it's a very unique setup. You don't see the Grim Reaper founding a school in every show you watch, and the characters themselves have a very special dynamic about them. The main characters are split into teams or pairs of two, a Meister and a weapon. Some characters become weapons, and this makes a kind of team-based, teamwork-focused relationship not seen in very many shows. Every single combat throughout the entire series, or every combat scenario, focuses on this teamwork system the show has going between Meister and weapon. It makes every combat scenario a little different, a little unique, and it just makes the universe and the series, it just creates a very unique universe, right? This universe is very recognizable, and the fights play out in a very unique way that just makes Soul Eater something new, right? It's not oversaturated, it's not something you've seen a million times before. It's not like watching an isekai, right? No hate against isekai, but we all know what I'm trying to say. Um, Individual characters I really like would be Dr. Stein, who is kind of the teacher mentor for most of the show, but towards the end he succumbs to his madness and plays kind of a villain role, a minor villain role. And it's kind of neat to see him and Medusa kind of interact with each other because obviously they're foil characters, right? They both contain madness, but Stein pushes away his madness and deals with it, whereas Medusa gives into it. And this is kind of a cool foil. Medusa's always trying to tempt Stein, persuade him, and it's a very cool dynamic those two got going. And it just adds to the list of cool dynamics, if I'm being honest. Once again, between characters and plot, this show is very stacked as far as uniqueness and reasons to watch. Another character I really like is Death the Kid. Well, I think his name is kind of lame. It's kind of does what it says on the label kind of name. The character is pretty unique, I'd say. He's pretty cool. I like him personally because he obviously has a thing with symmetry. He's obviously a perfectionist. Sometimes he gives in to his anxieties. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he pulls through. So you really never know what you're gonna get when Kid is involved in a fight. Makes it very interesting to watch, and it makes it different from a fight with any other bland shonen protagonist. Obviously, Death the Kid isn't the main protagonist of the show, but he's definitely up there as far as characters you'll see a lot. Maka and Soul are arguably the two main characters, and I just want to take a second to appreciate their designs. Just Maka's whole white gloves, black coat type thing, it works for me. It's a very cool look to a shonen protagonist. It's nice not to see your bland ninja, which is funny saying that because there's Black Star, who does look like your bland ninja type character, and he's probably a very controversial character. I can't imagine he's many people's favorite just because of how arrogant he is. I can definitely see why some viewers of the show would hate Soul Eater, or not hate Soul Eater, but hate Black Star, or just dislike him. But I personally found him very entertaining. It's cool to see his behavior go from I'm gonna transcend God, kind of work its way into his eagerness to fight, his eagerness to improve. It motivates him. it's cool to see that. It's cool to see an arrogant character not be 100% hateable in my eyes. There are people that will disagree and say, he's an annoying character, and yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I'm not gonna fully argue against that. But no, when it comes to things people don't like about the show, if you talk to any Soul Eater fan, they're probably gonna mention the ending of the show. Now, the ending of the show between the manga and anime diverge, and this isn't something new, right? With most anime adaptations of mangas, the anime comes out faster than the mangaka can make new volumes, new chapters. So at one point or another, the two mediums diverge in story. Most famous example of this is Fullmetal Alchemist, right? It completely diverges. And Soul Eater basically does the same thing, and a lot of people say the manga ending is better than the anime ending. Little bit of honesty here. I haven't read the manga ending yet. I'm only on the third volume of the manga, so I don't actually know the manga ending, but I believe I 100% believe it's probably better than the ending given to us in the anime. It's not an amazing ending, but I don't think it's the worst ending, like people make it out to be. For what it is, it's good. I liked it. It wasn't a terrible ending. So, Maka defeats the Kishin with bravery. Yes, is it cheesy? But it's also kind of the way they did it is the best they could have done it, given a premise like that for an ending. And let me explain. So, some dialogue in episodes leading up to the last episode, we learn how the Kishin, the embodiment of fear, Azura, deals with fear. Well, he deals with it by thinking through things, right? He explains how when he was trapped in his own skin for 800 years, he thought through things. He thought about everything, every possibility, and he knew the outcome of every situation. Once he knew the outcome, the uncertainty was eliminated, and with that, the fear was eliminated. That's a way with dealing fear, but notice how it doesn't involve bravery at all. Another thing he did is he killed off Arachne, the spider witch. Um, she was taking care of him, something he has never seen before. It was a new feeling for him, and he didn't know how to deal with that. He didn't know how that was going to affect his vision of a world where everyone is out for themselves and ruled by madness. He was scared that that was going to jeopardize his vision. So how did he deal with his fear of Arachne? He killed her. Now, he deals with fear by eliminating them straight up or thinking through them. But neither of those are overcoming his fear or using bravery, like what Maka was demonstrating to him in that final fight. By demonstrating that everyone has bravery, even Azura, he something broke inside of him, right? Something was shown to him that has never been shown to him before, and in the end that defeated him. Because in all of his thinking, all of his contemplating, he has never used his bravery, like what Maka just did against him. Now, is that the best ending? No. But it does make sense, and I do like it better than the generic shonen protagonist saying their super long move name and finishing off the villain with their final move. This was actually hinted at as kind of a psych ending because the Genie Hunter wavelength was built up as the Kishin killing machine, right? This thing was going to kill him. But what the main characters didn't think of is that his madness isn't impure, it isn't evil. Just like bravery, everyone has madness, and denying that in itself is an issue. So he was not classified as evil, and the Genie Hunter move didn't work. The second strikeout was the plot twist of Maka being a weapon. I thought that was cool, and once again, that didn't work. The only thing that does work against him is bravery. So I really did like that ending. It really was a roller coaster of a final episode, I'll tell you that. And I feel like it ended off the series on a decent note. The series, though, before the ending is super strong before that, so the series as a whole, ending included, I think is really good. I wouldn't gripe about the ending too much. Could it have been better? Absolutely. But for what it was, it makes sense, it was unique, and it was a good way of ending the show. A show that I feel is super special, right? It has a very unique aura around it. It's very stylized. I love how the universe has a very fairy tale or urban legend aesthetic to it. Most of the villains are common baddies or small fry that the main characters fight up against are usually references to urban legends, stories, or real world, fairy tales. The world around them is filled with this kind of stuff. From the moon having a random evil face to it, sun included, to the bar Chupacabras that Maka's dad visits from time to time. There's also Son Jay of Emerald Lake, seen in the first Corona episode. He's a very obvious reference to Friday the 13th, a movie series I really enjoy. Then you also got witches, magic, werewolves, you name it. All that fairy tale, cliche, urban legend stuff, it's all packed into the show. The show is packed to the brim with that kind of stuff, and it's really cool to say, like, hey, I recognize that reference. You also got Baba Yaga's castle, an old Russian urban legend. Disappointing lack of chicken feed on the castle, but a cool reference nonetheless. Um, I really like that part about the world. I liked that touch. You even got Al Capone in there, seen in episode 2. Al Capone's not an urban legend, but that's definitely something to add in an anime, isn't it? So, very stylized, unique world. Characters, as I mentioned. Ending. So, let's say you've seen all this, right? You like Soul Eater, and you're wondering, okay, I finished the series, what next? Is there other Soul Eater content? Well, we do have the Soul Eater Late Night Show, and this is basically the Bones 10th anniversary project, Studio Bones, right? They made this, more or less. It's celebratory. It's just a minute-long skit in between, or beginning and after a commercial break, along with a altered preview of the next episode and recap starting an episode. So, while this isn't really new content per se, you do get about a minute skit, and there's a late night counterpart to all of the 51 main episodes. So that's about 51 minutes of new content. But once again, I don't want to stress, or I do want to stress that you shouldn't stress. It doesn't change the series at all. It doesn't give any new information or insight. So if you miss it, you're not missing anything. It's mainly just staff members messing around and having fun. It seems like there's a very cheery aura around the production of the show, and it's seen in the late night show. Touch I liked is each late night show episodes ends with some artwork made by someone who's involved in the production of the show, ranging from voice actors, producers, and even the creator of the manga himself. Or herself. I unfortunately don't know who the creator of the original manga is, but that's neat to see. Artwork by people who made the show. It just, you can definitely tell that there was a strong sense of family or, friendship between the employees making this, and it shows on the final product, I think. And so, that's late night show for you. If you want to check it out, it's not something you can easily find on like Crunchyroll or Funimation. You're gonna have to dig a little deeper for the late night show, but it is on Kiss Anime. You can probably find it other places as well. The other big bonus content to Soul Eater is what I'm gonna refer to as a sister show, Soul Eater Not, and this is basically a slice of life spin-off set in the Soul Eater universe. It was not made by Studio Bones, and it came out years after the initial Soul Eater series. Once again, it really doesn't add anything to the show or main plot, so if you miss it, don't sweat it. And personally, I really didn't enjoy Soul Eater Not. I don't think most fans of the initial Soul Eater will, but it's not a bad show by any means. It's just not what you would expect from a Soul Eater, series or Soul Eater content. As I said, it's just slice of life. It doesn't focus on any of the main characters. They do give brief cameos, but it's its own thing. It's technically a prequel, as in all the Soul Eater Not content takes place before episode 1 of the default Soul Eater series. It has a new cast of characters that aren't seen or referenced in the initial Soul Eater, and all of your favorites are seen in cameos, as I said. The only one that gives significant development is Kim. You're probably thinking, who the hell is Kim, right? Well, she's the pink-haired girl that has like 2 lines of dialogue throughout the series. She is seen mostly in the Brew defense arc, right, alongside Ox and the dude with the pot of fire and pot of thunder. Kim is seen much more in the Soul Eater Not show. She's actually given characterization and a brief backstory. I do love what they did with that character. It flushes her out a little more as she is severely underworked with in the main show. I'm assuming characters like Ox, Kim, those types of characters, I'm assuming they're flushed out more in the manga, but the anime glossed over them. And it's not a new sin to gloss over characters. Animes do this to save time, right? So I can't confirm if they're fleshed out in the manga or not. Once again, I haven't read much of it, but that's what I assume happened. So at least if you don't read manga, which I would recommend starting, but if you don't read manga, you can at least see Kim's character develop in Soul Eater Not. Other than that, through the cameos, it is kind of cool to see your favorite characters revisioned in the generic anime style, as the initial Soul Eater it uses a more unique style, right? It's the Soul Eater style, whereas Soul Eater Not is the generic anime style we all know and love. So it's kind of cool to see the characters reimagined that way. They look a little different, and it's just kind of cool to point at the screen and say like, whoa, I know that character. But other than that, Soul Eater Not is kind of its own thing, and in my opinion, it's not nearly as strong as the main series is, even in the slice of life genre, you know. Um, but overall, the Soul Eater series, I think it's really good. It's one of the first animes I've seen, and I recently rewatched it. Some really strong arcs and storylines in there. Some cool, unique locations they visit. There's a mix of real-world locations like the London Bridge, France, Oceania is briefly mentioned. But then you also have more unique places like Death City. Very cool name. I'd love to live in a city named Death City. But, it's a little more fantasy-like. You got Medusa's lair, the Baba Yaga castle, you got the clay-making village, and the Alaskan island the brew is held on. So some unique characters, unique locations, unique art style. Like I said, this makes for a very stylized and memorable show. Um, I give it 4 out of 5 stars, I would say. At its lower points, maybe 3.5 out of 5 stars. It does drag in some areas, but for 51 episodes, that's not too bad, all things considered. This isn't One Piece we're talking about. 51 episodes is completely manageable, and it's a fulfilling storyline. There's a clear start, middle, and end. The 51 episodes does what it set out to do. It's a very strong 51 episodes overall. So I would recommend it. And like I said, that's the Soul Eater main series. If anyone is interested in the Late Night Show and Soul Eater Not, those are other Soul Eater related content you can check out. Other than that, that is all the animated content as of the making of this video. Apart from the Soul Eater manga, that's the only other Soul Eater content I know of. So, if you've gone through all of that, then Soul Eater has nothing more to provide for you.